Hi everyone, so today we're going to make something that is a bit of a mishmash of different makes. So it's a little bit of the triple cube pop-up box card that I made back in December 2019, but I actually did it on a video for April 2020 and it went viral. So it's a bit of a mishmash of that, plus I recently saw, well, I got sent in, a picture of in a magazine. They'd done basically the triple pop-up box cube card, but this bit was a box and then these two bits were that cube card. I'll put a link up here for the original triple pop-up cube card that I did. But yes, this is like the gift box version of it, so it's quite cool, quite like it. So the idea is, obviously you've got these, I'm not going to be, I've only just literally just stuck these down, so I've got to be careful, but in here you've got enough space there for something to, you know, a gift for somebody. So that's the same there and the same in this one, and then this one is just a little lift off lid and you've got lots of space in there to put your gift. I'm going to be careful because in fact I'm going to leave that off now. But yeah, so that's the make for today. And the papers that I'm using are from Antonio Makes' new kit, and it's called Floral Typewriter, and it's beautiful. And this is actually off one of the little gift boxes that he does, like a printed gift box, and you cut it out and make a little gift box. But the squares were just pretty much about the right size for this. And then this is one of the background papers in that kit. So I will link everything in the description below. But yeah, and then these I've had for quite a while. These I were given, I've no idea where they came from, but you could use any embellishments. So yeah, so that's what we're going to make today. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this box, for the lid anyway, you're going to need one piece of base card that's about 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. You can go with 4 1/16 by 4 1/16 if you want to. For me that was a little bit too small, but I'm going to go with 4 1/8. It might end up being a little bit too big, but hopefully it'll be okay. So you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. So you end up with that. So we're going to put that to one side for now. I'll come back to that in a minute. Then you're also going to need 3 pieces that are 8 1/4 by 10 1/2. One of them you're going to score slightly differently. So one of them you are going to score at, along the short edge, you're going to score at 2 1/2 and at 7 1/2. And then along the long edge you are going to score at 2 1/2, 5, 7 1/2 and 10. Oops, daisy. Okay, so that's your large box done, so put that to one side. Then the other 2 pieces that are exactly the same again, so these are both 8 1/4 by 10 1/2. You're going to score along the long edge at the same measurements as you've just done, so 2 1/2, 5, 7 1/2 and 10. And then you're going to turn it round, and along the short edge you're going to score at 2 1/2, 5 and 7 1/2. So you can do the same score lines on your other piece as well. So starting with your lid, what you're going to do is you're just going to cut up your fold line just till you reach the line going the other way, like that, and then we're just going to notch that out. So we're going to cut that one, and then this one here, and then the ones opposite as well. Okay, so once you've done that, you can just go ahead and just mount and fold all of your score lines. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side for now, and we're going to bring in the one we did to start with. So this one, you need to have your 3/4 inch section at the top and then your boxes at the bottom and your rectangles are kind of in the top half. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut out, so I'm just going to turn this over because it's just easier for me to do it on the right hand side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut up all of these flaps here. Okay, so I'm actually going to do this with a Stanley knife, it's a little bit easier. And we are going to notch them ever so slightly as well. So you should end up with that. And as you notice, I just notched out that tab there. I'm also going to notch it out here and just cut this top section off. And I'm also going to just make sure I just very slightly notch that top bit as well. So you should end up with that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut down these little tabs here and again just notch them ever so slightly. Okay, so you should end up with that. So if I turn it around the right way up, there we go. So I've got my tab on the left now, and I've got that 3/4 inch kind of tab at the top, and I've just notched in between, and then you've got your big box at the bottom, and I've notched in between. So we're going to go ahead now and mounting fold all of these lines. So you should end up with that. So we're going to put that to one side for now as well. And we're going to bring in our other two pieces, which we've done. And I'm going to make sure that the 3/4 inch tabs at the top and the 1/2 inch tab is down. It can be either side, one or the other. Just whichever way you're going to do it, just make sure it's the same way as mine. I'm actually going to turn mine round this way round. I'm hoping you can still see it, because on my little diagram off camera, I've got my tab on the right. So in order to keep my head right, I need to make sure I do that. So along the bottom here, again, we can do exactly what we did with the previous one. So we're just going to notch these out all the way along and take this off, and then this is going to be a tab. Okay, so I've done all that along the bottom. I've also just notched that top bit to make sure that's the tab. Now what we want to do now is we're going to go ahead now and cut away the whole of this and also parts of this. Before we do that, we just need to put in a pencil line. You can score it if you want. That could make it easier. Okay, so I've put it back in. You've noticed I've flipped it. Sorry if I keep flipping it. It's just because obviously my measurements on this are from right to left, and normally we work from left to right. So what you want to do is you're going to basically mark in from this edge that doesn't have the tab. You're going to come in 1 3/4, and you're just going to go down until you reach that second score line going the other way. And then you're also going to do the same at 5 3/4, which is here. Go all the way down. And so what you're doing is you're building a little 3/4 inch tab either side of that second square. Okay, so that's what you need to do, and you need to do that on your other one as well. So both of these need to be the same. So once we've done that, what we want to do is this line along here, this score line, you're going to cut from there across until you reach this junction here, and then you're also going to cut from here all the way down until you reach that junction. So you just make sure you keep that square, so you mustn't cut across here. You need to leave that. My tab's on the left, by the way. So we're just going to do that now. So you end up with that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cut down this line here and this line here. So we're cutting out like 1 and a bit squares here, and a bit of, and like 3/4 of a square or whatever there. Okay, so there you go. Now you can see the bits that I've cut out. So you've got your big square there, and then your 2 3/4. So this has got like a 3/4 all the way around, because that's going to be the lid of our little boxes. So I'm going to take these off. So we're going to repeat all of those on here. Now if you're not sure, then what I would do is, if you've already done one, just lay this on the top and just make marks or draw lines so you know which bits you're cutting out. So I'm going to go ahead now and just repeat these lines on here again. Okay, so then what you want to do is just on this top bit here where you've got your little flaps, you're just going to cut down your line like that. And then you can just notch those two little bits out ever so slightly. So you should be left with two little notchy tabs there. So I'm going to do the same on this box as well. So you should end up with this. So what you want to do now is go ahead and fold and burnish all of your score lines. Okay, so now it's easier to decorate with it not all stuck together. However, if you're going to do that, you need to make sure you know where you actually need to stick pattern. So on these boxes here, this square here, you don't need pattern on. Okay, you only need, in fact, let's put marks where you do need pattern. That would be easy, wouldn't it? So I'm going to tick. Okay, so where you need pattern pattern here, pattern here, pattern here, and pattern here, and then these tabs here as well. So that's for that little box, and this will be the same on this one. So on this one here, you need pattern here, 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 and these little tabs. Okay, you don't need them on here, and you don't need them on the bottom. So that is for the two little ones. So for these, you are going to need, so in total you need quite a lot, but for these little boxes, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 per box squares that are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. If you want to, you can also do one in here, and I'm actually going to do one in there as well. I'm going to do one just on the inside of the lid. So I've got 5, 10 in total just for this bit. Okay, so you need some pattern paper squares for that, and then for these little tabs around here you need 3 of them, and these are 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. Now I have used some of the new Antonio Makes papers that he sent through, and one of them is like a box, and I'll put the picture up now of what it looks like before you cut it up. And so that was actually obviously a gift box in its own right, like a milk carton one. But I don't tend to make those kind of boxes up very often. They are really nice, and I have done one before actually. But yeah, so what I've decided was these are actually off that box. So I'm going to use these on my little box instead, and they're actually going to go, I think I'm going to put them on the 2 lids because I've got 4 of these. So I think I'm going to do 2 of the lids, and then maybe 2 sides, maybe, or maybe I'm going to put, I'm not sure I'm going to put them. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead now and work out where I'm going to put them all. Okay, so once you've decorated your little boxes, they should look a little bit like that. And then we're going to put those to one side. We're going to make them up in a minute. And we're going to bring in our big box. So on this one, you literally just need to decorate, oh well, you need to decorate 2 sides with 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. So these are going to be, so just choose 2 sides that are together. So I'm going to make this bit here will be my front seam. So I'm going to make these 2, because they'll be stuck together in a bit. I'm going to make those 2 the ones that I put my 2 long ones on. And then these will have a box on it and a square above it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these 2 on first. Okay, so I've done those 2. So then you need another 2 squares, and these are going to go at the top here. Now, if you want to, you can wait until you've stuck it all together, and then because you can have 2 boxes here. But I'm just going to stick them on because I know roughly what my border is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. Okay, so you should end up with that. So we're going to put that to one side as well and just bring in our piece that we started with, which was our just over, what was about 4 1/8, I think it was. So we're going to go ahead and put one on the top, and then I'm also going to put one underneath as well. And then you're also going to need your 4 1/2 inch by 2 1/4 inches around the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. Okay, so once you've decorated everything up, you should be all ready to go. So we'll start with the boxes, the little boxes first. So what you're going to do is you just want to put tape on this tab here. You also want to put tape on these 2 little tabs here. And then you want to turn over and you're going to put it onto 3 of your tabs. Now, one of them just needs to have 2 pieces on it, and the others can just have 1 piece, it's fine. But just decide whichever one you put 2 pieces on, the one that's opposite it. So in other words, I'm going to put 2 pieces on this, so that one won't have any on it at all. Okay, just need to make sure you remember that. Okay, so I've done that on this one. I'm going to do it on the other one as well in a minute, but I'm just going to do this one first. So once you've done that, what you want to do is bring this tab over, take off the backing off this tape here, and then pull this over and stick that down. So that's going to give you a little box like that. And then you're going to turn it upside down. And then the one that's got 2 pieces, which is this one, the opposite flap will go down first, and then that will stick on there, that will go over, and that will go over, and you'll stick it all down and make yourself a little cube. So you should end up with that. So you've got a little box. So what you want to do now is, if you put this down, fold that down and fold these tabs round, then you can take the tab off and just stick them down, because then if you do it that way, you know it's definitely going to fit. If you just go ahead and fit it like in the air, you could end up with it being too tight. So I find it's easier if you can do it this way. It just makes it, you know it's definitely going to fit then. It's not going to be too snug, it's going to be about right. So there's your first little box. So you're going to repeat that process with your other little box. So you should end up with 2 little boxes that look like that, all ready to go. And so what we're going to do is we are now going to make the big box up. Okay, so with this one, what you want to do, it's very similar. What you want to do is put tape all along these here. And then you're also going to turn it over and put tape along here. And then you're going to turn this over, and again, 3 flaps you're going to put tape on. One of those 3 you're going to put 2 lots of tape. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to fold down these 3 flaps and stick them. We're not going to stick that one yet, because that is going to hide this tab. These are just for reinforcement, so you don't necessarily have to have these. If you want to not bother with these tabs, you can, but I just find they just reinforce the top of the box a bit better. and because it's quite tall, it just makes it a bit more sturdy, and that is why we've kind of notched them out. Okay, so we're not going to do that one yet, we'll do that one afterwards. And then what we want to do is fold this over here, take this tab off here, and then this is going to fold over and stick down, and then you can go ahead and do this last one. Like that, so it just gives you a bit of a neater edge. If you wanted to, you could decorate that. If you're using double-sided card, then obviously, you know, it's quite useful because you have like a little border. And then we're going to flip this over and we're going to do the base exactly how we've done it before. So we're going to take the 2 tape tabs off first, and opposite it should be a tab with no tape on it at all. And then we're just going to fold it down and stick. Okay, so then we want to bring in the lid, and you're just going to put tape on these 4 tabs here. And then you're going to take your box, just take off 2 of the tape backing, and then get your box, put it on the top, and then just make sure it folds and fits nicely. Like that. And then you can do the same on the other side. Okay, so 4 1/8 is a little bit, it's a bit loose, so maybe go 4 1/16 with your lid, because you want it loose, but you don't want it so loose that it's going to drop off. Okay, so then you want to turn your box around so that you've got the section. I'm going to take that off for now. The section where you've got your 2 squares. This is the back of your box, and this is the front. And then you're going to bring your 2 little boxes in, and you're going to stick your little boxes on like that onto the front of your big box. Now I'm going to use wet glue to do this because that gives me more time, more wiggle room time. And I'm just going to work out, do I want, because at the moment I've got my typewriters at the back, but I might want them at the front. Let me have a look. No, I'm going to have them at the back. Okay, so there's your basic triple cube gift box set. So obviously you've got a little lid there that opens up. Just ignore that. I've put little strong magnets in just to make sure it sets, make sure the glue dries in the right place. And then on this side, obviously you've got your little thing there, and then you've got more space in there. So yeah, so that's how you do it. So then obviously you just need to decorate it up. So yeah, so I hope you liked it. Please have a go. So it's just basically a progression on from what we did before. But yeah, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, leave a comment down below. If you want to become a member, you can, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.